I warn you, this is a long-last canto of the dancer's craft, a poem or series of poems about my friend Moses Pendleton's creative process, but at least this one has pictures. I'll try a 16th canto, the last one, I suppose, since someone has suggested that I match the 16 rows, or rays as I have called them, which these days are marigolds, since they don't appeal to varmints and resist most wilts and molds. Don't worry, still the dancer cultivates helianthus, like Monet his water lilies, and also his agapanthus. Yet even this year the marigolds were blackened by the blight that wiped out all those tomatoes from New York to Lubeck Light. The blight. I frankly hesitate to tell of another disaster. Began with rain, and then more rain, followed fast, and followed faster. I know, I stole that line from Poe, until the water table had risen above the land and made it indistinguishable. The farmers and the dancers stood helpless as their seed rotted, or sent a feeble stem up for the blight to breed. Planting and replanting, Moses waited for the sun, which didn't come till August, when the race was almost run. Yet even then he rushed to sow a 60-day variety, and gave his seedlings miracle grow, and hoed for his anxiety. But let's rewind the tape a bit. A man, a plan, a panic, a new piece called Botanica. One January evening it opened at the Warner in Torrington, Connecticut, which is right around the corner. Convenient when it doesn't snow all day and night a foot or so. But people came, the show went on, and seemed from life to have been drawn. The stage is locked in winter, and then the season swings around to start the North's annual awakenings. A trickle, soon a torrent, and bodies made of snow arise out of the river's inexorable flow. A flock of geese honks overhead. Below, in clear spring pools, life quickens microscopically what the spinning earth unspools. An alabaster swan alights. A pond nymph spreads her wings. Each creature preens and gazes at its own imaginings. The worm moon rising, in the soil the worms begin to turn. A sprout emerges from a seed, a spore becomes a fern. A dinosaur, its bones at least, mates with a daffodil. The very rocks rise up and walk. Make of this what you will. The flowers dance, like Disney on drugs, and then the bees, in ways that would have shocked Von Frisch, shake their anatomies. Above a darkling meadow, winking insects interweave their lanterns as the centaurs leap on a mild midsummer eve. A thunderstorm, recorded live, electrifies the hall. A spider's web with diamonds strung is perfect for the ball. Deep in the heart of summer, the sun with shining torso is working in the fields all day, like Moses, only more so. The oak wood twirls its golden trees, a pale datura bloom unfolds in many colors its vespertine perfume. Or is it the first snowflake, a lazily falling star that melts in the palm, with millions more soon floating near and far? The winter sky's been shaken, and all its whirling snows are strewing the departing year with petals from a pure white rose. The encore sends out solar flares, and then a river run. The dancers dive and tumble, and Botanica is done. Now back to August. Only a patch and some well-drained loam when finally the sun came out, promised harvests for the home. The sun stayed out, however, and all that insulation transformed in less than 30 days the surviving vegetation. At Quincy's, sunny faces all turned to greet the man who gave them life and weeded them and fed them from a can of fish emulsion. Shades of Squanto. And why not have him in this canto? He must himself have grown such flowers as native to his land, now ours. The dancer, once depressive, now flips to his manic pole, bills spray and growing every day with rapture in his soul. He contemplates a Zebulon where stars in yellow sprays of Fibonacci spirals run in dizzy double ways. A ring of fire pulses. A gray stripe like a bird sits with its golden feathers by the breezes gently stirred. The green cup of a sunbeam is a bowl of buttered peas, its swirls of tiny flowerets too tight yet for the bees. Other suns are opening their hearts till every ovary conceives, their petals drenched in yellow paint and pollen dripping on their leaves. The cyclops pass out goblets which bees with hairy legs, unrolling their proboscises, suck down to the last sweet dregs. The house and porch fill up with blooms. The giant plasma screen in the living room displays each day a different high-def scene. One time it's mating grasshoppers on a bed of flowerets. Never mind the coming winter. Theirs is life without regrets. The next, the dancer closes in on the bells of the heavenly blue, with creamy throats and saffron centers deep in honeydew. The set's a moving painting, with pixels in slow motion floating in the plasma of a leaf and flower ocean. In psychedelic greens the screen from stem to calyx floods, with curling sepals looking just like sinsemilla buds. Petals wilt and shrivel, and seeds begin to gleam. The camera is an eyeball, but the image is a dream. Now the marigolds, all withered and black, are otherwise just as they were when green and gold, before their sad demise. A lab report confirms that they've succumbed to so-called late blight and should be burned, which turns on in the dancer's brain a light. For one, they're dry as tinder, just asking for the match. The lawn is mown, there's none of that old fire-spreading thatch. And a charitable function's been arranged at the house that calls for Moses to show his marigolds. The occasion neatly falls. Besides, we know the dancer, like his buddy Bachelard, is at heart a common firebug, above all in his own backyard. Those bonfires with the Christmas tree and sunflowers by the score at Easter, and for Halloween, see Canto No. 4. The dancers have been summoned before the big event for rehearsal crafted in the form of a pyro-experiment involving an inflammable liquid or two to see how a spectacle can be produced for the good of society. And now the guests have all arrived, had drinks, and up they go at the sound of a Tibetan bell for a view of the field below. They climb the broad, then narrow stairs and pass the tapes in the tower, and ooh and ah at the spectral sight of the dusky solar flower.